Hello, very good evening to you. Welcome to ITV News and to Friday night's calendar.
Hello, thanks for joining us. Here are tonight's main stories.
Prayers for Penelope, how a lack of NHS beds means this 14-month-old girl can't get the operation she needs to keep her alive.
This is a funding and resources issue, and the fact that it sounds like it's such a simple thing that can be fixed to be able to save our baby, to save our little girl's life.
His journey's end with the last of our special reports on Pete McCleave's 6,000-mile search for a genetic twin and the moment he's been waiting 7 years for. From fly-tipped rubbish to festive favourites, how these amazing Christmas transformations are turning heads in this Yorkshire village. Getting back together again, a message from this League of Gentlemen star on his return to Leeds.
Coming up, local news for local people. Please stay tuned to see me, Dr. Mark Gatiss, later on.
And it's about this time of year when about 100 people a day start asking if we're going to get a white Christmas. Is there anything wintry in the forecast? All the detail a little later on.
First tonight to the race against time for a baby with a heart condition who needs a life-saving operation, but a shortage of NHS beds means she can't have it. 3 weeks ago, Penelope Greathead suffered a cardiac arrest and she's been on a life support machine at Leeds Children's Hospital ever since. But it won't keep her alive much longer and her only option left is having a so-called Berlin heart fitted. It's a highly specialised procedure requiring expert aftercare. There's only a handful of beds across the country equipped for this and none are currently free. Penelope's parents are now trying to raise £150,000 to have it carried out abroad. Helen Steele reports.
Yay! This is Penelope Greathead a few weeks ago, living with an underlying heart condition but happy and otherwise healthy. And this is Penelope today. A life support machine keeping her heart and lungs going. She was having a routine medication change at Leeds Children's Hospital when she suddenly had a cardiac arrest.
Until you're in this position and until you hear about it on the news, you can read about it, and until you're in this position and you have to go through it and you watch how they operate in here, and they are like gods. They're unbelievable, literally saving lives minute by minute.
We just obviously, our little girl was alive again.
But this machine isn't a long-term solution. It's designed to keep Penelope alive until she can have a mechanical heart, known as a Berlin heart, fitted. The issue now is that the new heart would require a bed in a specialist hospital, and there are none available in the whole of the UK. Meaning Penelope faces a race against time for treatment. I guess it's a sign of how stretched things are. How do you feel about that?
And that's not any of the centre's faults. This is a funding and resources issue, and the fact that it sounds like it's such a simple thing that can be fixed to be able to save our baby, to save our little girl's life. This is why we want to raise awareness, because there are other children that are in the same position as well.
In desperation, last night Holly and Jordan set up a fundraiser in case a bed doesn't become available soon. The operation could be done in Germany, but the cost of the heart alone is more than £100,000. Friends from home in Whitby, as well as colleagues from the army and complete strangers, have so far raised more than £60,000.
I can see, as I flick through the donations, I can see all the people I work with.
We're just overwhelmed by the support.
The Berlin heart would keep Penelope going until she finds a heart donor. And Penelope's parents have another special reason for her to keep fighting until then.
We want her to meet a little sister who's coming in April, don't we? And just want her to be a big sister for her.
Yeah, it was just supposed to be a surprise, but we've got to sort of get rid of that surprise right now, I think.
It's an absolutely heartbreaking story, and Helen's with us now. Helen, the parents must be absolutely beside themselves with worry.
Yeah, her mum and dad have been by her side day by day for the past 3 weeks while she's been in there. I mean, they say now all they can really do is pray for a miracle. It was only yesterday that they were told this machine won't last that much longer. Now, we understand you can't have this operation done privately in the UK. And the only option is to go to Germany, where the Berlin heart is manufactured.
Why is there such a shortage of beds in this area?
Well, it is a complex area. Basically, children only have a Berlin heart fitted if they need a heart transplant. And the NHS England told us today the heartbreaking reality is that there are so few hearts available that they can't really put the resources into providing these beds because of the shortage. So obviously they are using this as a drive for donors to come forward and more people to sign up to the register. Now, to give you an idea, there are only 11 children in the UK who have a Berlin heart fitted, and there are many more who need it, like Penelope.
Yeah, Helen, it's a very sad story. Hopefully there'll be some positive news before too long. Thank you.
Well, next tonight, a mother from Leeds whose pregnant daughter was pushed to her death from a cliff is calling for new laws to protect other victims of so-called honour-based abuse.
Fawzia Javed and her unborn child died after her husband, Kashif Anwar, pushed her off Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh days before she was set to leave him.
Although Anwar was jailed for murder, Fawzia's mother says having specific honour abuse offences would encourage more women to speak out before it's too late. Natalie Higgins has the story.
She was not only my daughter, but my best friend and confidant.
The heartbreaking words of a mother grieving the death of her daughter and her unborn child. The trauma is now her driving force to call for change and raise awareness of so-called honour-based abuse.
Destroyed my family to the core. The grief and pain has brought us down to our knees. We're not living anymore, we're just existing.
Fawzia Javed was 17 weeks pregnant when her husband pushed her from Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh in 2021. Her mother told ITV News she did everything she could to try and leave her abusive relationship, but her husband killed her before she had the chance to escape.
Fawzia did all the right things. Obviously we had the police in twice. She documented all the evidence. She even contacted divorce lawyers. She did have a plan. But he got to her before she could carry out that plan.
Yasmin believes more women would have the courage to speak up about honour-based violence if it was recognised as a specific offence.
Her murderer, he is now behind bars, but if honour-based abuse had been identified, then there would have been more people on that stand with him and perhaps behind bars like he is.
Last year, calls by MPs to introduce a statutory definition of so-called honour-based abuse were rejected, but campaigners are still pushing for change.
Harm and Havana are calling for a statutory definition of honour-based abuse through its Push for Change campaign in memory of Fawzia Javed and the countless other women who've been killed through honour-based abuse.
Fawzia's mother hopes her story will give other women subjected to honour violence a voice and the courage to try and escape.
If you are being abused, reach out to people that you trust. And don't keep it to yourself. Don't suffer in silence.
That was Yasmin Javed ending Natalie Higgins' report. And if you've been affected by the issues in it, there are links on where to get support on our website. That's itv.com/calendar.
Well, you are watching Friday Night's Calendar with Sally Simpson and Ian White. Still to come before 6:30, from Hollywood to Huddersfield. We speak to town's American owner about Kevin Nagle, about a possible Wrexham-style investment from Tinseltown.
Yes, you don't need me to tell you really that we've been stuck in a fairly gloomy story weather-wise this week. There's definitely more of the blue stuff as we head into the weekend, but you're going to need both your sunglasses and your windproofs. All the detail a little later on.
See you shortly, Kerry. Thank you. Now to the final of our special reports from Macau on the southern tip of China, where Whitby man Pete McCleave is searching for the stem cell donor who could save his life.
Pete has myeloma, a form of blood cancer. 7 years ago, he was given 7 years to live. But his mixed Chinese, Portuguese, Irish and English heritage makes finding the genetic twin he needs extremely difficult.
Well, tonight we see Pete addressing a 4-yearly gathering of Macanese expats known as the Encontro in the hope of persuading the 1,000+ delegates to become stem cell donors. Mel Barham has the story.
It feels like I'm building up to something of great significance that could potentially not deliver what I was hoping it would. I've got to make the message land, but I don't know what the message is anymore. Don't know.
He came to Macau to chase the odds of finding a life-saving donor. Tonight, the culmination of years of campaigning, Pete must go all in pursuit of the jackpot. He's got a slot to speak at the closing ceremony of the Encontro, a reunion where over 1,400 Macanese diaspora, all with a similar genetic makeup to Pete, have returned to Macau from all over the world. But in a city of customs and casinos, he could do with both faith and fortune to strike it lucky.
Nothing I do is going to be enough. A slideshow, a selection of photos. If there's only 1,500 people on the register in the region today, there is someone in Macau who's going to get diagnosed with a blood cancer. They're going to have the same conversation I had, where they're told stem cell technology could help you, but actually there's not enough people there to be your potential genetic twin. Am I going to let them down if I get this wrong? Possibly, because no one else is talking about it down here.
It's been a week of connecting with a part of his heritage that's been the obstacle to finding a stem cell donor match. Pete's grandmother was born here in Macau, the daughter of a Chinese native and a Portuguese merchant, and that mix of genetic makeup means finding a stem cell donor match has been difficult. And so, the moment he's waited 7 years for, the opportunity to speak en masse to the very people who may hold the key to his survival. This is it.
Good evening, everyone. I was given 7 years ago a diagnosis of blood cancer. If I could find myself a stem cell donor, then that 7-year prognosis could be beaten. And if I can find someone to donate me their stem cells, then I have every chance of beating the blood cancer that I've been diagnosed with. To take a picture of what's on that screen right now, if you can potentially register to be a stem cell donor, you might just save someone's life, and you never know, it might just be mine. I genuinely feel I couldn't have done any more. That's what the last 7 years has been all about. And I now know I can say I did everything I possibly could.
Don't try, you don't know. So I really hope, really hope there is a match for Peter. He deserves it.
Go make the test. You might save this man. And then I think that's a really powerful thing for a person to feel that you made a change in someone's life.
If I don't find my match, at least I know I played the odds. It was never the most important thing. It's been a foil for a much broader conversation around health inequality.
And what would it mean to you to find your stem cell match?
It's a game changer. 7 years this has been a part of my life, and it will be unbelievable to get that phone call.
It's a search that's taken him 6,000 miles from home to the most populated region in the world. All he needs is that one perfect match.
I can now look my sons in the eye and say, I did everything. It was all about buying time. Whatever happens, what more can you say?
And if you can save just one person's life from coming here this week, would that be a success for you?
100%. Absolutely.
It's been a journey of hope, reconnecting with the past in pursuit of a future. It's too early to know if Pete's found a match here, but whatever happens, he knows he's tried his best. Mel Barham, ITV News, Macau.
Yes, it's been an incredible story. Of course, it's not over yet, is it? And we'll let you know what happens. But if you want to find out more about Pete's journey, there's more on our website. Just go to itv.com/calendar, and you can also see more on the calendar section of ITVX.
Well, time for some sport now, and Chris is with us in the studio. Chris, all very exciting at the top of the Championship, isn't it?
Isn't it just, Sally? Yeah, two Yorkshire teams battling out a real Christmas treat at the moment, isn't it? Sheffield United currently lead the way from Leeds in second, but just a point separates them. Both are in action tomorrow. Leeds up first with a lunchtime trip to Preston. Back-to-back wins now for the Whites after defeat at Blackburn a couple of weeks ago. Then at 3 o'clock, the Blades, who are unbeaten in 9, welcome struggling Plymouth. And with both teams vying for an advantage over the other, the managers are warning against complacency.
There will be a lull in the game where everybody expects us just to turn it on and, you know, it's Plymouth and let's just roll these over. We've got to do the job on the pitch first and foremost, and the supporters have got to help us get through this game on Saturday, because if we take it lightly as a club, then we get hurt, and I don't want us to get hurt.
I'm happy that we're on a really good point average right now, that we're on a really good run. But in this league, the momentum can change quickly, and for that, it's never a reason to be there with complacency or not being humble in the Championship. You always have to do the basics.
Meanwhile, Huddersfield Town are also going great guns in League One at the moment. The Terriers' win at Mansfield last week was their 4th league win in a row. They're now up to 4th in the table and within striking distance of the automatic promotion places. Well, yesterday, I spent some time with town owner Kevin Nagle at one of the club's foundation events. He's part of an influx of American investment into English football recently, and I asked him whether, like Wrexham, Birmingham and Leeds, he'd welcome celebrity involvement in the club.
I wouldn't rule it out, but you know, I've been a member of professional teams where a lot of celebrities have some ownership. Most of them don't have majority ownership, and that's a different participation process. I think the chats over at maybe Wrexham do. Maybe I know that Birmingham's a little bit different, but the bottom line is, you know, you could bring Hollywood to England.
Can we bring it to Huddersfield? You know, Patrick Stewart's a big, Huddersfield Town supporter.
Of course. I mean, he's one of my favorites, and I talk to him frequently. I think it's not out of the question. It's always good having that, at least some cheerleading coming from Hollywood.
Always good to have a strong Californian accent on calendar, isn't it? Well, you can see my full interview with the Huddersfield Town owner Kevin Nagle on our streaming service, ITVX. And finally from me, Doncaster boxer Maxi Hughes steps into the ring in Monte Carlo this weekend. The former IBO lightweight world champion weighed in today ahead of his fight with Irishman Gary Cully. Maxi, who's 34 now, has lost 2 of his last 3 fights and knows this, in one of Europe's premier gambling hotspots, could be for him the last throw of the dice.
Experience is something you can't buy, borrow it. You've got to go out and earn it the hard way. And looking at my career, I've done it that way the whole time. Always earn it the hard way. And that's what's led me to be here as I am now.
Very understated, Maxi, but he's a lovely bloke. Very funny as well, off camera. I assure you.
We believe you. If you say
Trust me.
So.
Yeah,
All right.
that's your lot.
Thanks a lot, Chris.
He'd make anyone laugh though, Chris, wouldn't he? Now, the ITV Evening News continues at 6:30. Let's find out what's on the programme. Here's Lucrezia Millerini.
Coming up, Royal Mail sending customers a second-class service. The company is fined £10.5 million by the regulator Ofcom for failing to meet first and second-class delivery targets.
I ordered a set of pans about a month ago, and they've been saying that they're being delivered today and they never come. It's been delayed.
A close friend of Prince Andrew banned from the UK over fears he's a Chinese spy. And the UK's young darts prodigy Luke Littler in training ahead of this weekend's World Championship. Join me for those stories and more at 6:30.
Lucrezia, thanks very much. Well, next tonight, the latest accolade for an award-winning actor who helped create one of the weirdest, most surreal comedies of its time. And it's all thanks to Bretton Hall College.
Yes, well, that's what we're saying, because Mark Gatiss met Steve Pemberton and Rhys Shearsmith there before they went on to create the League of Gentlemen, along with Jeremy Dyson, who's from Leeds and who joined them later.
Mark became Dr. Gatiss earlier today. We'll hear from him in just a moment. But here's a reminder of one of his League of Gentlemen characters, the very odd Butcher Hilary Briss.
What's this? Taste it. Where'd you get this? Eunice.
Oh, looks like Eunice is in bother. Well, earlier today, we sent Victoria Whittam to the University of Leeds just before Mark picked up his honorary doctorate.
Well, throughout this week, students from the University of Leeds will be celebrating 3 years of hard work by picking up their graduation certificates. But among them will be someone who's being celebrated for a lifetime of achievement, and that is actor and creator Mark Gatiss. Lovely to meet you.
Thank you, you too. Lovely to be back.
You're now doctor. I should have mentioned it, shouldn't I? How does that feel?
Well, it's short of being Doctor Who, it's the best thing I can imagine. It's very strange. I was just driving up here and passing so many landmarks from my past, and it's frightening. Literally, the fence in the pub where we went for a drink after Thatcher fell, there was a phone box next to it where I was told I was going to be an uncle. It's all around the same time. And very deep back over there was a little tailor's shop where I spent my first ever month's wage having a suit made. Not this one.
Well, you're looking very smart, it has to be said. And as you say, it started here, didn't it? At Bretton College, which is now part of this university. Yeah. This is where you met the League of Gentlemen and created so much content.
Yes, Stephen Rees and I were at Bretton, and Jeremy Dyson was at Leeds doing philosophy. He was the posh one. And that's how we first met and started. It all came from there.
Were you always funny? Were you always bantering with each other?
I was never funny till today. Well, we just got on immediately. Shared sense of humour, shared love of horror films. We all seem to have had the same childhood, even though we're from different parts of the north. I think you just you think you're the only person who knows certain obscure things, and then suddenly you've got a friend, And then Bretton was a great kind of melting pot for that, and it's an extraordinary thing to think how lucky we were, really, to meet each other.
Well, of course, today you're picking up your honorary degree, and that is a massive inspiration to young people who I believe you're going to be here speaking to shortly.
You have to believe it could be you. I think that's really crucially important. And if you grow up thinking, I'd love to do that, but there's no way in for me, then there won't be. So you have to tell people it's possible. And it's not just about being in front of the camera, or it's about being part of the whole thing. It's an industry, a huge industry, which has many, many different facets.
Well, thank you, Mark. It's been a real pleasure speaking to you. And a little bird tells me that you used to train news presenters. How did I do, dare I ask?
Amongst the very best I've ever seen.
I love this guy. Back to you.
Victoria, thank you very much indeed. A very talented actor and comedian there, Mark Gatiss.
And Victoria said he was a very nice man.
Oh, well, that's always good to know, isn't it? Now, it's that time of the year when the streets are lined with Christmas decorations. They certainly brighten the place up, don't they? But they can all get a bit samey, but not in Doncaster.
No, that's because for the last 4 years, one man has sprinkled a little festive spirit all around his village using, well, upcycled rubbish. And he's made everything from a nutcracker to the nativity, as Sarah Clark's been finding out.
There's a Santa, a snowman, a few cheeky chappers, along with many more Christmas characters, all lining the main street through Micklebring in Doncaster, each one upcycled by local resident Paul Keaton.
4 years ago we had fly tippers dump a load of stuff on the outskirts of Micklebring, and in with them there were gas bottles. And I'd seen a friend of mine making some gas bottles into garden decorations, and it was near Christmas, so I thought I'll make some Christmas decorations. I make use of anything and everything that I can.
Including a disused bus stop.
It's a full nativity, so we've got 3 kings, we've got Mary and Joseph, got 2 sheep, and the baby Jesus in his manger, yeah.
And what's Jesus made out of?
Jesus is made out of an expansion vessel from the plumbing system. And the joy is just seeing even bin men. This morning we had our bins collected and the bin man waved his arm out and says, "I love these."
And it seems there's no Grinch in sight, except for this one, when it comes to the festive decorations. All the locals seem to be singing from the same hymn sheet.
O come all ye faithful. Yeah.
It's absolutely fantastic. It's really nice. It's brought the village together because we're such a long village rather than kind of, in a small space. And it's really nice because you drive through the village and there's something to spot all the way through and everyone's just loved being involved with it.
Do you want a hand with that?
Yeah.
And one little helper in particular. With demand for the festive characters snowballing, Paul's enlisted the help of his wife Zoe.
My wife's been invaluable for putting up with me for a start, but also this year she's took on the main task of painting them.
You've got involved, haven't you?
Yes, I have. I don't know whether I've done the right thing or the wrong thing there. Because we've made up to about nearly 70, I think, somewhere around there, and people just wanted more and more and more.
Including John, a local resident and admirer of Paul and Zoe's work.
I've got one for him to pick up, so ours will be out next year, so all being well.
And have you asked him what it might be?
No, leave it to Paul, he can decide.
And if he needs any help...
So obviously I've got my Christmas decoration on. Is that an inspiration for next year, maybe?
Ooh, looking at it, yes, that's going to give me some inspiration. It's got to be a Christmas Minnie Mouse, that one.
Paul says he'll continue bottling up the Christmas magic, with next year being bigger and better. Sarah Clark, ITV News, Doncaster.
They're just great, aren't they? I've never seen anything like it.
I wonder if he could do the calendar presenters.
That would be interesting.
Oh, that would be cool.
Kerry, is it making you feel festive?
A little tiny bit. Don't worry, I'll get there. I'll be all baubles by Monday, I promise.
I'll hold you to that.
Lots of people asking me about a white Christmas. Obviously not going to give you a forecast yet, but it does look like we're getting a cold northerly in the run-up, so something a tiny bit cooler or colder and maybe some wintry showers in our prone spots, but nothing dramatic in our charts at the moment. We've been struggling under an area of high pressure with a lot of low cloud this week. I've been talking about mizzle. It's not a meteorological word, but it is in the Cambridge Dictionary online. Small, fine raindrops from mist and drizzle. That's stuff that soaks you through. We've got a mobile situation as we head through into the weekend, so everything's getting mixed up. Tomorrow's high is around 6, and then the temperatures rise as we head through tomorrow night, and by Sunday day, I should say, highs of 12. So 6 tomorrow day, 12 on Sunday day. And cloud-wise, very cloudy again today, but there are clear spells in the north and west. So with those chilly temperatures tomorrow, it does look like we are going to get some clear skies, which is good news if you're into watching up above in the sky. Star spotting, I should say. Geminid meteor showers peak this weekend. There'll be 150 per hour. Definitely can't see them tonight, so it'll be under those clearer skies tomorrow evening, but will it last long enough? Here's your forecast.
Today's forecast: seafood and sugar cube towns. TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
Yes, things are looking a little bit promising as we head through into at least the first half of the weekend. A lot of mist and fog for the likes of Leeds Bradford Airport both this morning and yesterday. Big thank you to Sean for sharing the shot. But as we head through into the weekend, certainly tomorrow, brighter with a mix of sunny spells and just a few showers clipping in western fringes, the Pennines, and then milder on Sunday, but with more cloud and stronger winds. So we lose the high pressure that we've been stuck under over the last few days, and a more mobile system coming in from the Atlantic. So most of those fronts will be weakening as they push towards us and coming overnight. But yes, the isobars tightening, the winds strengthening, and it will be fairly cloudy Sunday into Monday. So as we head through into tonight, we stick with the story that we've had today. Generally speaking, for much of the night will be cloudy, misty, murky and damp. But as that system pushes its way southwards during the early hours, it fragments, it breaks up, it becomes more showery, but behind it, colder and clearer conditions. So certainly patchy frost to northern parts as we head towards dawn, but definitely a much improved story as we head into Saturday. 8:17 and 3:45 are your sun times. Any residual cloud and showers pushing southwards, a chilly start in the north with a touch of frost, and for most of the day it's dry, bright, breezy, feeling pretty chilly, highs of 6 or 7, but with more sunshine, feeling better, but you can see a bit more cloud pushing onto the Pennines and 1 or 2 showers a risk. Now it does cloud up, the temperatures rising as we head through tomorrow night, and certainly for Sunday there'll be some low cloud over the hills, generally quite cloudy, really becoming quite blustery, but highs of 12 Celsius.
TUI sponsors ITV Yorkshire Weather.
There you go, no snow in that forecast, nothing Christmassy yet.
Nah, I'm looking forward to seeing your baubles on Monday. You promised.
I promise.
There's no answer to that really, is there? That's it. Have a lovely weekend, won't you? And yeah, look forward to seeing you on Monday.
Bye-bye.
Bye.